People of the internet! Says here, let's watch another video. Says here, millionaires surge in New York City as middle class gets priced out. Video here comes from NBC News. Let's check it out.
They say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
New York, New York.
The richest city in the world, with almost 400,000 millionaires, the most of any metropolis around the globe, according to a report out from Henley and Partners, which advises wealthy people on citizenship by investment. They report a 45% growth in millionaires in the last decade here, despite dire predictions during the pandemic of the rich fleeing New York.
But while more and more millionaires and investors are moving into the city, it's putting a real squeeze on the middle class who are having to leave.
We looked everywhere. We couldn't find anything.
Dana Dennis was born and raised in Brooklyn, and together with her husband, they make over $100,000 a year, but had to move to New Jersey after having their first child. They say they couldn't afford a two-bedroom anywhere they wanted to live.
I was seeing things on the market for like $4,500. If I wanted to stay even in Bed-Stuy, I mean, this is not Midtown that we're talking about, right? Like I'm talking about central Brooklyn.
And she's not the only one. In 2022, people leaving New York at the fastest rate were making less than $172,000 a year. That's according to a report from the Fiscal Policy Institute. They also found that more than a third of those leaving New York State were moving in search of affordable housing.
It's the wealthy moving into the bigger towns. There's no question, right? So the New Yorks, the Chicagos, the Los Angeles, the San Franciscos. It's the booming economies. If you make $200,000, $300,000 a household income, you can't afford to live in the city anymore.
New York City's Mayor Eric Adams has a City of Yes plan, enticing developers to address the worst housing crunch in 5 decades, expected to enable tens of thousands of new units over the next 15 years. But that wasn't in time for Luke and Sasha, who also left. They just couldn't make it work anymore.
$4,000 is a lot of money, and we still couldn't find a 2-bedroom.
So instead, they bought a house in Asheville, North Carolina, sight unseen. And they got in when the interest rates were still low.
Our mortgage in Asheville is less than our rent in New York.
Yeah.
And we have 8 times the space.
But now they too feel trapped, unable to move because of higher interest rates. Last month, the median mortgage payment for homeowners across the country hit an all-time high of $2,800, according to Redfin. It's all creating a vicious cycle.
Do you feel like buying a house is a reality for you? Or?
Oh, no. We aren't finding houses, not even here in New Jersey, that are under $750,000. The average, American dream of buying a home is just really difficult.
And while the millionaires continue to flourish in cities like New York, the middle class finding a new reality outside the urban jungle. Yasmin Vasugian, NBC News.
There you heard it, folks. The middle class is getting priced out. I did not know there were 400,000 millionaires that lived in New York City. I did not know that, but that sounds about accurate. Of course, New York City, as they claim, being the richest city in the world, in America. What's the solution, folks? I always, I never like to present a problem or speak on a problem without a solution. We should come up with solutions. Is it? I spoke on this some time ago as well too, where I said that there is no longer the middle class. It's just going to be the upper class and the lower class. It's really just going to come down to either you got it or you don't. And it was kind of sad to say where, of course, I've always known New York City to be fairly expensive. And then, the bordering places around there. So New Jersey's this, that, and the other. And even that, of course, people are having a hard time finding it, man. Rent used to be what once used to be affordable rent is now astronomical prices. $4,000, $4,500, it seems to be the normal standard for rent in New York City. But, of course, you move other places further down south. Of course, as you heard that one couple down in Charlotte, North Carolina, of course, they were able to get more bang for their buck, as you could say, while paying, for a mortgage. They owned a property. Of course, they were able to capitalize on lower interest rates as well, too. And they were paying significantly less than for their mortgage in comparison to what they were paying for their rent in New York City. What's the solution, folks? The middle class is getting priced out. More and more jobs. People are still losing their jobs. The people who still have jobs are not seeing increase in pay, or maybe, are severely underpaid. People are, properly qualified for jobs but not getting called, or whatever the case is, getting, overlooked by AI and things of that nature. It's a very competitive market for jobs. It's a very competitive market for housing. What's the solution? Something's got to give. Is it just for us to just figure it out? I always use the analogy, of course, of the Hunger Games, man. The arena is getting harder and harder to survive in. The arena is, of course, in comparison to the Hunger Games, the arena in which we're all in this world, trying to maneuver, It's getting harder and harder to stay alive in. As they always say as well, too, survival of the fittest. It's survival of the fittest, and a lot of people don't seem to be as fit in these circumstances. It's very scary out here, folks, man. You really got to get creative. You got to really think outside of the box in terms of your survival and your financial well-being in this country. That seems to be the case. I actually know a couple people as well, too, that, maybe once resided in New York City, but had to vacate the premises because it was just too expensive. Too expensive, man. And I don't necessarily see what the solution is. Are prices going down for rent? No. Landlords and owners, they don't seem to be lowering the prices. Everybody's blaming everything on inflation. Your groceries, inflation, we have to charge more. Your mom and pop stores, we have to charge more. Regular services, your barbers and this, that, and the other regular service, we have to charge more, man. Inflation. It seems like everybody's blaming the price hikes on inflation. Our own government, regular everyday people as well too, business owners, whatever the case is, entrepreneurs, everything is inflation. And I'm sure when you hear stories about like the tariffs as well too, depending on if you're in e-commerce and whatever the case is, that's also means to find alternative means to make ends meet because prices are just not the same. What's the solution? What is going to be the solution is what I'm trying to figure out. What is the solution that we're going to be able to implement to see to it that people can afford housing? Why is it such a stretch? Why are people racking their brains to live in and having to resort to living in undesirable neighborhoods because of prices when they once were able to afford it at a period of time? Is it just too bad for them? What's the solution? I don't know, folks. It's hard out here. It's scary out here, man. People are just going to have to get creative, man. People are going to have to think outside of the box when it comes to making ends meet. People are going to... It seems as if they're telling us to lower our standards as well, too. Hey, man, go live in a dangerous neighborhood if you want a roof over your head. Because where you want the neighborhoods where maybe not even might be, neighborhoods that might not even necessarily be the most luxurious, you still can't afford it. Of course, people who have families as well, too, want to be in school districts that, have good schools so their children could go to good schools. You got to take that into consideration as well, too. It's scary out here, folks. I don't know what the solution is, but solutions need to be brought to the forefront immediately, or else we're going to continue to see the middle class get pushed into the lower class, and then the lower class is going to be non-existent. I don't think there's a lower class anymore. It's either you got it or you don't. Upper class, lower class, yeah, if you want to call it that, but it's either you got it or you don't. I don't know, folks. What else we got?